Hey you guys, welcome back. Welcome if you are new. My name is Sam. This week I am cooking up some delicious comfort food. These are a few of my favorites when I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. So let's get into the kitchen and let's start cooking. Alright you guys, today we're going to be making some comfort food. I am not feeling the best today, so I just want to make something that's very comforting. We're going to be making my brown rice congee with kale and bacon. It's going to be so good, and if you're feeling under the weather, it's going to make you feel so comfortable. So I've got my pot here, and to my pot I'm going to add my 10 cups of water, or 10 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of brown rice. I've got 2 green onion stalks. I'm going to add those in. We'll remove them later. I've got 2 pieces of, well, it's 1.5 inch piece of ginger that I just cut in half. I'm going to add those. And I've got 1 chunk of garlic. It's a pretty big garlic clove, but I'm going to add that in. I just smashed it. Give that a little stir. I'm going to add some thyme, about 1/2 teaspoon. And since there's salt already in the chicken broth, I'm not going to add any salt, but I am going to add some pepper. Okay, so I've got that in there, and I'm going to turn this on to about medium-low. If you have a gas stove, it's about 2 or 3. I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and I'm going to let this cook for about 1.5 hours. It takes a pretty long while to cook, but that rice has got to cook down and break down and get nice and delicious. So all you want to do is just come in here every few minutes or so, just give it a stir, so that way the rice does not stick to the bottom of the pan or the pot. But if you don't like brown rice, you can certainly use wild rice or some kind of white rice. So I'm just going to let this cook down, and I'll see you back and I'll show you what it looks like when it gets done. Alright, so while the brown rice congee is finishing up, we're going to go ahead and make the topping to go on the top of the congee. So I've just added a little bit of olive oil to my pan, and we're going to add some bacon. And we're going to cook this bacon down until it gets nice and crispy, and then we're going to remove it from the pan. It shouldn't take about 8 to 10 minutes. Alright, so this bacon is nice and crispy. I am just going to remove this bacon to a bowl that's lined with paper towel, just to drain off some of that bacon grease. Now I'm not going to get rid of this bacon grease. I'm going to scoop some of it out and put it in a bowl. And I'm going to let it cool and add it to the rest of my bacon grease in the refrigerator. You don't need all of this grease, but you do want a little bit of it. But if you're feeling frisky, you can add all of, keep all of it in there. That's up to you. But I'm going to remove a good majority of it. Alright, so now I've got an onion that I've just got diced up. I'm going to add it to this grease, this hot pan. And I'm going to season this up with a little bit of salt and pepper, just to help sweat those onions out. We'll season it again later. So I'm just going to cook these onions down until they get nice and tender. It should take about 4 to 5 minutes. Alright, so these onions have cooked down and they're nice and tender. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of butter. I'll let that melt down. And I've got some kale here. It's about 8 cups of kale. And I'm just going to add it directly into my pan. I'm going to season it with a little bit of salt and some pepper. And I'm going to add in just a little bit of red pepper flakes. This is certainly optional. You can leave them out if you don't want heat. Give this a little stir, and we're going to let this cook down for about 5 minutes so that kale can wilt down and get nice and delicious. All right, this kale has cooked down nicely and it smells so delicious. So I've got 2 cloves of garlic here. I'm just going to add those in there. And I'm just going to cook this down for about 30 seconds to a minute, just until that garlic is fragrant. Shouldn't take long at all. All right, that garlic is nice and fragrant. I smell it. So we're going to go ahead and add in the bacon that we cooked earlier. And just give this a little mix, and then this is ready to go. The only thing we have to do now, the congee has about 5 more minutes left, and then we will just remove the garlic, the ginger, and the onion, and then that will be ready to serve. I'm just going to cut the heat off, let this hang out here while that finishes up, and then we will plate this up. All right, so I am just here fishing out the ginger and the onion has pretty much kind of cooked into the rice, and that's fine. I have yet to find the garlic, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to find the garlic. If not, it's fine. And then we will ladle this into bowls, top it with that delicious bacon and kale topping, and we'll get this served up. All right, you guys, here is this delicious bowl of brown rice congee with kale and bacon. I just topped it with some chopped parsley, some fried garlic, sriracha, and some sesame seeds, and it was so good. Very, very comforting. But I will leave all of the links in the description box below. If the links are not there, I have yet to put them up on my blog. I've been very sick this week, so just keep checking the blog, and they should be there at some point this week. Alright guys, tonight I'm making breakfast for dinner, and I'm going to be making my cream of einkorn porridge. It is so easy, absolutely delicious, and so comforting. So I've got a large saucepan here. I'm going to turn the heat to about medium low. And I'm going to add in about 3 cups of milk. And we're going to start letting this heat up. And I'm also going to add in just a little bit of salt, not much, probably about 1/4 teaspoon, and give that a little mix. And I'm going to let this come up to a simmer. It's going to take about 5 minutes. All right, now that this has come up to a soft simmer, I'm going to add in 1 cup of einkorn flour. If you can't find einkorn flour, I buy mine at Publix. Yeah, if you can't find it at a local grocery store near you, you can purchase it online. I like to use einkorn because it's more nutritious for you, but you can also use the cream of wheat if that's what you all can find at your local grocery store. So I'm just going to add it in slowly and whisk it until all of the lumps are gone. It should take about 2 to 3 minutes. And then we're just going to cook this until it starts to thicken up. Okay, so I've turned my heat down to low, and I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm just going to mix this together until it's melted. Now I'm going to sweeten it up with a little bit of maple syrup. You can do honey if you want. I'm just going to do about 3 tablespoons. Give that another little mix. And I've got half of a cup of cream here. You can do half and half as well. And I'm just going to add just about 3/4 of this to my porridge here and give this a little mix. And we're going to let this heat through about a minute or two just to heat that milk up a little bit. And then this is ready to go. Super simple, so easy, delicious. You can top it with whatever you want. I like to top mine with fruit. So I'm just going to turn the heat off and I'm going to get everything tidied up, and then I'll show you my plate or my bowl of this delicious porridge. All right, you guys, here is this bowl of this delicious porridge. I topped it with some fresh cut strawberries, some blueberries, blackberries, a little bit of cinnamon, cream, and a little extra maple syrup. And this is absolutely delicious. So I'm going to grab my bowl here, go put on some Project Fear, and have some delicious dinner. If you watch Project Fear, let me know in the comment section down below. I know you can watch them on YouTube. So I'm going to go put that on YouTube, on the TV, have me some good dinner, and yeah. All right, guys, tonight I'm going to be making some tomato soup. This is my version of the Campbell's tomato soup. It is so good, so easy. Typically, I make this in the crock pot, but today I want the quick version. So I'm just going to be making it on the stovetop. So we're going to start out with adding some tomatoes to our pan here. I've got a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. I've got a can of diced tomatoes, juice and all. I've got 3/4 of a cup of water, just to help thin it out a little bit. Some Worcestershire sauce. I've got a 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. If you don't want it that sweet, you can just add a little bit less, or you can leave it out. I'm just going to give that a little mix. I'm going to turn my heat on to about medium-low. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste, about a tablespoon, excuse me. A tablespoon of that. It goes right in there. And I'm just going to mix this together, make sure everything is nice and combined. And then I'm just going to bring this up to a simmer, and I'm going to let this simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'll get this blended up until it's really, really smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the last of the ingredients, which is 2 bay leaves, which we'll take out later. And I'm going to add in a few pinches of red pepper flakes. If you don't want it spicy, you can leave it out. So this is just going to sit here and come up to a simmer. And then once that is done, we'll go ahead and get this blended up. All right, this has been cooking for about 20 minutes. I've already removed the bay leaves, and I'm going to cut my heat off because I don't want it to splatter everywhere. And I am going to get my little stick blender here, and I'm going to blend this up. You can do this in a blender. Just be very, very careful. Fill it halfway up. Leave the top insert out, and just put a towel over the top of it and start on the lowest setting and blend it until it's smooth. Be very, very careful. So I'm just going to blend this up, and then we will add some cornstarch mixture and thicken this up a little bit. Okay, so this is nice and smooth, and I've got some, I've got some cornstarch slurry here. It's just half a cup of water, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now, you're probably not going to need all of this. mixture. You're just going to add a little bit at a time until it's as thick as you want it. Alright, so I just added 1/4 of the cornstarch mixture into here, and it is thick as I want it. So all you're going to do now is adjust the seasoning, add more salt and pepper if you need to. You can add some cream to this if you want it a little bit more rich, but this is good to go. You can serve it with some grilled cheese or ham and grilled cheese. Whatever you want will be absolutely delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and serve this up, and I'll show you my bowl. Here's my bowl of this delicious copycat Campbell's tomato soup. It is so good. There is nothing more comforting than a bowl of soup and a grilled cheese, especially tomato soup and grilled cheese. But this was absolutely delicious. It just warms your soul. Alright, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for my voice. I have been pretty sick this week, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better. So today we're going to be making a chuck roast in foil. It's a bit of an older recipe, but it's still absolutely delicious. Now I've gone ahead and seasoned one side of the pot roast. I'm going to go ahead and season the other side. And I've just got some French onion soup mix here, and we're just going to add the rest of it to this side, as well as a little bit of pepper. Now this recipe doesn't have a lot of ingredients, but it's absolutely delicious. Now one thing that the recipe does not call for is butter. I'm just going to take just a couple of pats of butter and put it right on top, just for a little bit extra richness and flavor. And all you're going to do is you're going to take the foil that's on your pan and you're going to wrap this up pretty well. Alright, now that we have this all wrapped up, I'm going to put this in a 300-degree oven for about 3.5 to 4 hours. You can do 325 degrees for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and just check it, and if it's cooked completely through and it's tender to how you like it, it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going. Alright, you guys, I did not film myself getting this out of the oven or anything like that because my daughter was having a really bad day, so I was just having a one-on-one conversation with her, so I just did not want to bring out the camera. So here is my plate. I just cooked this until it was tender to how we like it. It's super, super tender. I kept this in larger chunks, but you can shred this up even more if you want. And I just served it with some spatzel with butter and some Parmesan cheese and some steamed green beans. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. Like and share this video. It really helps my channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.